Well, a very, very happy Friday morning to everyone. Welcome to the John Kentera Show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Glad you could join us today. Very happy to join us and want to wish everyone out there, male and female, a very happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. We will be in on Monday. I know a lot of people have sent me messages this week. Are you going to do a show on President's Day? Yeah, we're going to do a show on President's Day. So we'll have three shows next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. As usual, I want to welcome anyone that's new to our podcast here on the John Kentera Show, San Diego Sports Talk. We'd ask you to subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. And if you'd like to be a part of our Gold Glove membership, $2.99 a month. And really what that does, folks, it helps pay for the cost of the program. We do incur a few bills here and there, and it just helps defray the cost. And if you enjoy the show, we would appreciate it if you'd become a Gold Glove member, and we certainly appreciate the supers that we get throughout the course of the show as well. So without that, we're going to get rolling. A lot to talk about today. A lot of stuff to talk about. And we're going to start off with a topic that I've been talking about since I think October. I think right after the Padres got eliminated from the postseason, the talk started. And I remember hearing people talk about it. I read about it. Oh, the extension for AJ Preller is coming soon. It's coming soon. They're just going to dot the I's and cross the T's. Well, that was back in late October, early November, and we're still sitting here and AJ's having to answer these questions. He had to answer them. It'll be 2 weeks ago tomorrow, where he had to answer them at FanFest. That was the big topic. You know, what's going on with your contract extension? And he tap danced around it, did a very good job, quite frankly, of protecting the front office, I thought. Saying, oh, I've been busy trying to put the roster together, and we just, it's my fault as much as anybody's. And then yesterday, first topic, first time he meets with the media in Arizona, before they start asking about this guy or that guy or what you're looking to do, was about what's going on with your contract extension. And, there's a variety of things that could be going on right now, you would think. And again, I always look and try to look at things in a variety of different ways. I like to look at both sides. I want to hear what both sides have to say, but there's really not a whole lot to discuss here. There really isn't. And I realize the Padres are going to be sold at some point in time. They could be sold, in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. We don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We've heard about prospective owners, and we heard about three guys last week, and there could be a whole lot more. But until you get the deal consummated, the Seidler family and AJ Preller run the organization. And I would think that you want to get this done sooner rather than later because, again, yesterday he meets with the media, and it's not about his players, it's not about his manager, it's about him. He's very uncomfortable talking about himself, and I think most people are, unless you're an egomaniac, and I don't think AJ is an egomaniac by any stretch of the imagination. Now, there's some people involved in all sports and all walks of life that are egomaniacs, and it's all about them. I see this as being fairly simple to a degree as far as maybe they're discussing years. Is it a 2 year extension? Is it a 3 year extension? How much money? And again, AJ's representing himself. He's his own agent. And it could come down to, job expectations. Do they want to, now that he actually has had the name president of baseball operations now for a few years, do they want to tweak, some of the things he does or how he manages or how much time he's out on the road? I think when you've got the head of your organization, and I look at AJ as the head of the baseball operation, I think he can come and go as he please. We know he's an extremely hard worker. He may do things out of the ordinary compared to other general managers that are going to wear the button-down shirt and penny loafers. AJ's a scout at heart. He goes out and finds ball players, and he's also put together a really good group of baseball people that go out all over the world to look for talent. He got great people that work for him in San Diego, Josh Stein being one of them, the assistant general manager. And Josh has got a big part in this organization. Josh is a great guy. He's a San Diego guy. Kevin Towers hired him many, many years ago. And he's really the right-hand man for AJ Preller. And maybe Josh deserves a little bit more credit, and maybe deserves a little more power. I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I know AJ does things his own way. And people in corporate America sometimes, they don't like that. And I don't want to call him a maverick, but he's kind of a maverick. He wants to go out and look at ball players. And he'll be wearing his bucket hat at a game at Modern Day High School in Santa Ana, or could be at J. Sarah High School for a big tournament. I mean, you never know where AJ Preller is going to show up, where he's heard about a guy. I mean, it's unbelievable. Sometimes you wonder if there's more than one or two AJ Prellers running around. I mean, the guy is always finding a place to go to watch a ball game and evaluate talent. He just doesn't go to games to watch games. He's going with a specific purpose. And so I don't know what's holding this deal up. I don't want to hear this deal. Well, he's been too busy putting the roster together. That's AJ, just being a good guy right there. I mean, this contract, in a lot of ways, shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, he didn't have any problem working with Peter Seidler to get a deal done. In fact, Peter probably called him and said, "Hey, Jay, we're going to give you this extension. You got this title, and get back out there and keep doing what you're doing." And, unless they want to just kind of string him along until a new ownership comes in, and then, they don't offer AJ a contract and he goes away. If I'm AJ, I want to get a deal done. Because if the next group comes in and they don't want me, they can fire me, but I'm going to get paid for 2 more years. Or I'm going to get paid until I get a new job. And he's going to get a new job. If he's not signed here in San Diego, he'll get a job next offseason. Absolutely. No question about that. So I don't know what the holdup is. It could be money, which I don't think it is. Could be length of extension, which is a possibility. Job expectations, possibly. They want him to be around the office a little bit more. And you know what? I think you got to let him do what he does, and that's get out and find ball players, and then who he reports to. I think that's a big thing. He reported, I think to Ron Fowler and Peter Seidler, and then when Ron Fowler got out, he reported to Peter Seidler. So that's probably a big sticking point. I know for me that would be a huge sticking point. I want to report to somebody that have a rapport with or a friendship with. Um, and again, the bottom line, you don't have to be everybody's best friend. You got to find ball players and put a winning product on the field. And I think, after struggles, he built the farm system up, got good players. They spent a lot of money, some that didn't work out, some that did. But hey, right now, the Padres are an uptrend. Now, we don't know how many more years without a legitimate farm system. And again, most people that rate farm systems, they got the Padres 29th or 30th. The worst in baseball right now, but that can turn around. I mean, you get one or two guys go. I mean, Salas comes back this year and has a big year. All of a sudden, the Padres are 17th rather than 30th. You never know. You never know, and that's all cyclical. But he's built the farm system, tore it down by trading players, and he's built it back up. And there's still that little rumor out there that he'd like to get back C.J. Abrams. C.J. Abrams turned into an all-star ball player. Whether he plays shorter, he could play the outfield, play second base down the road. That would be interesting. But nonetheless, they got to get this deal done. Maybe it'll be done this weekend. Maybe by the time I come on the air on Monday, AJ will have a new contract. And again, on Sunday is the first official workout. Now, there are a bunch of guys already in training camp. Again, the first official pitchers and catchers, even though they were thrown on Tuesday, was on Wednesday. So they're getting into a nice little routine. There have been some players already there swinging the bat, taking some live BP. But everybody will be ready to roll on Sunday. So I'm sure on Monday we're going to have a lot to talk about. Now, after they got by the contract extension, they got into AJ's goals for this roster. And I think picking up Miguel Andujar, and we had that for you on Wednesday. It came down just before the show officially. We had reported it last Friday, but it came down officially just before pitchers and catchers took the field in Peoria. The Miguel Andujar signed a 1 year deal for $4 million plus a mutual option for 2027. And I think that's a good pickup as long as he can stay healthy. So now you got guys that can play all over the place. Andujar can play third, he can play second, can play first, could DH, could play left field. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think the Padres right now have one of the best outfields in baseball. I really believe that. I mean, you got a guy like Ramon Laureano, who the majority of his career has been a center fielder. You got Jackson Merrill, who's young, still growing, still learning the game at the big league level. I'm praying that he will stay healthy and be able to play 150 games this year. And he can go get the ball in either gap. And then you got Fernando out there in right field, arguably the best right fielder in baseball. And I'm going to get to that a little bit later because we had some rankings come out, and I'll let you know where Fernando showed up in those rankings. But in the infield, you got the veteran guys on the left side in Machado and Bogarts. And, you figure, man, he's going to hit 275, hit, 27 to 30 home runs and drive in 90 plus runs and hopefully play a good third base. Okay. Got to bounce back. A very slow start defensively last year. And then the final 2 months, he just flat out ran out of gas. Final 6 weeks, his numbers were not good. Not good at all offensively. And Bogart's kind of a crapshoot. I really don't know what to expect out of Xander Bogaerts these days. I really don't. Unless he pulls the ball, it doesn't really have a whole lot of power any longer. Got to try to pull the ball down the line. I mean, he can't hit too many home runs, I don't think, unless something drastically changes in the left center field gap. I mean, he got to be a dead pull hitter and try to hit the ball down the line. And when you try to become a dead pull hitter, you're susceptible to a lot of off-speed stuff and trying to get started, might get jammed a little bit. So it'll be interesting what we get out of Xander Bogaerts this year. He seems to be a guy that is definitely on the decline for me. And Cronenworth is Cronenworth, and you got Gavin Sheets, who I'm hoping can reproduce another year like a year ago when he was given an opportunity, made the most of it. 19 homers, I'll take that. And, you're going to play first base at probably average, but he's working at it and getting better. And that's his natural position. That's where he played coming up through the minor leagues. And then behind the plate, I think they're going to be better. And we've talked about that. But AJ yesterday said he would like to start looking and continue to look for a veteran starting pitcher. That would be great. I do think they've got 4 good starters, and I think they've got other guys that everybody's a question mark. Okay, everybody's a question mark. Well, even the guys that are in the rotation. Can Pivetta do this year what he did last year or something close to it? That's a question mark. He had his best year in his big league career. You got Michael King. Can he come back and stay healthy for an entire year? Remember, with the Yankees, he made some starts, but he primarily worked out of the bullpen. First year with the Padres, threw a lot. Last year came back, had the problem in the back of the shoulder that kept him out. He only made 15 starts. 5-3 record, great ERA, but can he stay healthy? Question mark with Joe Musgrove. Can he come back and be effective fairly quickly from Tommy John? Randy Vasquez, can he keep getting better from where he was a year ago? He made strides from 2024 to 2025 like an Olympic long jumper. I mean, he was fantastic. And then you got a lot of question marks. Kyle Hart, Marco Gonzalez, J.P. Sears, Matt Waldron. I know they're trying to get Tristan McKenzie, the former Cleveland Guardian, and trying to get him back on track. He's had a few rough years, but a good arm, still a guy that has some ability, but a lot of question marks. But he'd like to add a veteran starting pitcher. And he also said that he would like to sign another right-handed bat who could DH, play first base, play the outfield. And, a guy that became available yesterday who's probably a little bit on the decline right now is Nick Castellanos, who came up with Detroit, Went to Cincinnati in the last few years, been with Philadelphia. Didn't have a great year last year. Hit 250 with 17 homers, 72 RBIs, and OPS of 694, and a very average, if not a little below average outfielder. He got 20 million to go away. In fact, the Phillies were so disenchanted with him because he got into it with the manager Rob Thompson last year. He got taken out of a game in Miami and came into the dugout with a beer while the game was going on. Came into the dugout with a beer, and the players, before he started sipping on the beer, they got it away from him. But he had made comments about Thompson, saying he doesn't communicate with his players or he doesn't communicate with me, and they went back and forth a little bit, but it got out into the media, and so they actually had told Nick Castellanos, "Don't show up to training camp." And because of that, I mean, they wanted this guy gone. They paid him $20 million yesterday to go away. Final year of a 5-year, $100 million contract. They paid him $20 million to go away. Don't come here. We're done with you. They tried to trade him, but nobody wanted to pick him up. So now he's a free agent. And the Padres or the Royals, they've been mentioned this morning, could sign him for the minimum. So, you know what? Maybe he's in play. How do you feel about Nick Castellanos? Would you like to see him come and become a member of the Padres? I mean, I'm looking at the Padre bench right now. You figure Camposano, who's out of options, you figure he's going to be here. Unless he just, is just awful during the spring. You gotta start the season with him. You don't want to have to put him out on the waiver wire. Here's a guy that was one of your top prospects. Been up and down for 5 years in the big leagues, coming off an unbelievable year in AAA. His last year, he's out of options. You got to keep this guy and give him a chance. Give him a legitimate chance. Last year, he didn't really get a chance. He had 21 at bats, went 0 for 21. But I mean, he was going days without playing. And then you're bringing the guy in late in the game to pinch hit against some of the better closers in baseball. Not really fair. Give the guy an opportunity. Okay, you got Miguel Andujar, who probably right now factors in as a designated hitter. You got Sung Moon Song, utility guy, could be the old Swiss Army knife of the Padres. We don't know. I mean, there's probably one, maybe two roster spots open right now. So maybe Nick Castellanos is one of those guys. You got Mason McCoy, who's a good defensive player. We'll see what Bryce Johnson, another guy that is a defensive guy, but actually surprisingly swung the bat pretty well last year when given the opportunity. So I'm going to ask you right now, because we'll get out to our coaches crew before too long. Would you like to see the Padres bring in Nick Castellanos? If it's a sweetheart deal for the Padres, they could sign him for the minimum. He's already made $20 million, and regular players haven't even showed up to training camp right now. So that's my take on that. Now let's talk a little bit about some other things in baseball, and I've got to get my papers here. I just dropped. Okay, I got a bevy of things, and we're going to start off with predictions. And I mentioned last week that Fangraphs didn't have the Padres real favorable, but USA Today, they've got the Padres finishing in second place. Now here's the National League West. I'm going to give you the National League right now, and I'll start with the NL West. They've got the Dodgers going 98 and 64. A year ago, the Dodgers went 93 and 69, won the division by 3 games over the Padres. This year, they've got the Padres going at 85 and 77. San Francisco at 82 and 80, Arizona 80 and 82, and the Rockies, they've got them losing over 100 games again at 57 and 105. Of course, Rockies last year, how about 43 and 119? Ooh, that's a rough one. Okay, the National League East. Philadelphia, they've got USA Today, got them going 92 and 70. The New York Mets, 87 and 75. Atlanta, 84 and 78. They'll miss the playoffs, according to USA Today. Miami at 79 and 83. And Washington at 62 and 100. The NL Central, Going to be a battle between the Cubs and Milwaukee. They've got the Cubs winning at 88-74 record. Milwaukee finishing a game back at 87-75. Cincinnati 83-79. Pittsburgh 74-88, and St. Louis at 68-94. Man, the Cardinal organization really falling off. Looking at the playoffs, obviously the Dodgers, Philadelphia, Chicago would be the divisional winners, and then the wild card would be very interesting. It would be Milwaukee and the New York Mets finishing at 87-75, and I'm not going to get into the tiebreakers right now because there's no way to figure that out. But the Padres, with their 85-77 record, would qualify as the third wild card team. So USA Today does have the Padres getting in as a wild card and be the third wild card in the National League. I did the AL West just because I know we have a lot of Angel fans that watch my program. They were not kind to the Angels. They got Seattle winning the division at 90-72. They got Houston at 87-75. Texas at 581-81. The Athletics at 76-86. And they've got the Angels finishing at 72-90. Wow. I got to get up to an Angel game this year. I love going up to Angel baseball. It's a lot of fun. Okay, some other things, and we're going to get out to Coach's Crew here before too long. MLB Network, they're putting all their different things out, and I know not everybody gets the MLB Network, but this time of year, man, I'm living on that network along with watching a lot of college basketball, and of course, when the Lakers are playing, I got to tune into the Lakers. Missed most of the game last night because I did the UCSD game against UC Davis. Good win for the Tritons last night. They'll be home on Saturday night taking on UC Riverside at 7 o'clock. Aztecs play tomorrow night as well. They got Nevada. Nevada, very, very tough team coming in. Aztecs a half game back at Utah State right now, by the way. But I want to stay with baseball. MLB Network's top 10 players. Number 10, Gunnar Henderson of Baltimore. Still a young player. I don't know if he's a top 10 guy for me. Jose Ramirez, definitely a top 10 from Cleveland. Freddie Freeman on the list with the LA Dodgers. Jordan Alvarez, Houston, coming in at number 7. I got to tell you, Jordan Alvarez, one of the best hitters in baseball. There's no question about it. The problem is, I don't think he's going to have a long career. He's had all kinds of injury problems, namely knee problems. And when your legs start to go, you're not going to be the same hitter. So hopefully he can get himself healthy, stay healthy, and have a long, prosperous career. He's a Hall of Fame talent. Okay outfielder, but this dude can flat out hit. He's by far one of the best players offensively in baseball. And I hope he can stay healthy, and I hope he can be a Hall of Famer. Man, he can flat out hit. He's a fun guy to watch hit. Number 6, Francisco Lindor, who we know had hamate bone surgery, going to miss 6 weeks. They got Mookie Betts. Little bit of a surprise. They got Mookie Betts at number 5. And the reason I say that, he did not have a good offensive year last year. He had a pretty good postseason. But I think because of what he was able to get done at shortstop, I mean, can you imagine all those years he played the outfield? I know he signed as a second baseman outfielder, but to play shortstop at the major league level, let alone played at the ability that he played it at last year, I mean, he was off the chart, but he didn't have a good year offensively. It'll be interesting if he's able to bounce back this year offensively, but he's a very hard worker. But they've got him in as the number 5 rated player in baseball. Juan Soto, the New York Mets. Number 4, you got Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals. You got Aaron Judge at number 2. And of course, I don't need to give you too many guesses who number 1 is. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani, number 1 player in baseball right now. Now, Fox Sports came in. I was jumping around. I got all kinds of info for you. Fox Sports top MLB free agent signings. Number 10, the White Sox. Munetaka Murakami, 2 years, $34 million. Number 9, our old buddy Josh Naylor with Seattle, re-signed, 5 years, $93 million. When Josh Naylor was playing for the Padres, you ever think he'd get a 5-year, $93 million deal? I didn't, but I've always thought he was a pretty good hitter, and he's really shown that the last few years. Really got his career on track when he went to Cleveland, and then last year he started with Arizona. They traded him to Seattle, did a good job, and now he's getting a nice contract. Number 8, top signing during the offseason, Edwin Diaz, 3 years, $69 million. I think that That was a killer. When they signed Diaz, I mean, my goodness, Ray, I think it's better than the eighth best signing. Dylan Cease at number 7, Toronto, 7 years, 210. Didn't see that one coming. Left-hander Ranger Suarez, number 6, with Boston, 5 years, 130. Pete Alonso, Baltimore, 5 years, 155. Number 4, Bo Bichette with the New York Mets, 3 years, 126. Maybe a little bit of an overpay, and he's going to move to third base. Alex Bregman with Chicago Cubs, 5 years, 175. Kyle Schwarber goes back to the Phillies, 5 years, 150. And Kyle Tucker, 4 years, 240. I really think these rankings came down to who was making the most money, but that Edwin Diaz signing with the Dodgers, man, that's a tough one. Okay, now let's get over to MLB Network's top 10 right fielders. I don't think you're going to like this one. We're going to start off with Wilyer Abreu of Boston. Young player, good outfielder, no question about it. Mike Trout, top right fielder out there with the Angels. Hopefully Trout can come back. It'd be nice if he could play 1 year where he played like 140 games, see what kind of numbers he could put up. Number 8, George Springer of Toronto. Number 7, Seiya Suzuki of Chicago. Fernando Tatis Jr., MLB Network's top 10 right field. He's number 6. Now, how can that be? How can he be number 6? Now, you got Ronald Acuna Jr. in front of him in Atlanta, and he's had all kinds of injury problems. But you know what? He's had a better career than Fernando to this point. He's won an MVP. He's put up some massive numbers, stolen base numbers. So I'm okay with that. Corbin Carroll, he had a nice bounce back year last year. He's going to start the year on the IL. He had hamate bone surgery the other day. That's the injury of the spring so far. And then you've got Kyle Tucker of LA. I'm not, as you know, I'm not the biggest Kyle Tucker fan, and it's not because he's playing for the Dodgers. It had nothing to do with that. I didn't think he was that great. I mean, I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's a superstar like a lot of people do. I was never overly enthralled by him with the Houston Astros. And last year he missed a lot of time with the Cubs. Good player, productive player, but he's not a guy that I get Google-eyed over by any stretch of the imagination. You've got number 2, right fielder, Juan Soto. You know what? I got to give Soto credit. I don't think he's a great outfielder, but I thought he did a pretty good job last year. But with that being said, they're going to move him to left field. So Fernando moves up to at least 5th. But they have Juan Soto is the second best right fielder. And of course, most of it is on offense. And then number 1, anybody could figure that one out, Aaron Judge. So that was MLB Network's top 10 right fielders. Okay, let's get out to Coach's crew today. I think my big question right now, would you, if you're the Padres, would you try to make an offer to Nick Castellanos? Would you like to see him in a Padres uniform? Maybe a little bit of a declining player, maybe a change of scenery, playing for a manager that he likes. Maybe it'll get him going again. Okay, what do we got today? Uno at league minimum is fine, but wouldn't give him real money. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would have to sit down with him. Of course, if I was a general man, I'd have to sit down with any guy that I sign, and I want to talk to him. Yeah, you got to talk to his agent, but I want to talk to him, find out where his head's at, and how he talks, and some of these guys are all have their own agenda. And you got to find out where this guy's at. I mean, why would you bring a beer into the dugout? I mean, you need a beer that bad. Not he didn't drink it. They took it away from him. The players said, "Man, Nick, what are you doing?" Well, he's just being defiant because he got taken out of a game, and him and the manager weren't getting along, and it ran himself out of town. But you got $20 million to go away. You got $20 million not to show up to training camp this year. So I think you'd have to sit down. But you know what? I don't think AJ's afraid to take a guy that has a black mark against him. And I know there are two sides to each story. I always kind of thought Nick Castellanos was a pretty good player. I liked him a lot when he first came up with the Detroit Tigers. He's hit 250 home runs. And you know what? He's going to drive in over 1,000 runs in his big league career. He's had a really solid career. He's got over 900 RBIs right now. Didn't have a great year last year. Got platooned a little bit. Got in the doghouse. So, maybe you kick the tires on him. And I would think where he's at in his career, I think he's going to be turning 34 next month, if I'm not mistaken. I think 34. Um, he's going to want to go to a winning team. He's not going to want to go to a second division team. I don't think. Or he could sign with a second division team and put up some good numbers, and they get traded before the trading deadline to a contender to help beef up somebody else's roster. So that could end up happening. But good call on that, Uno. Appreciate that. What else we got this morning? We got Jennifer. I say we bring Nick Castellanos in the fold. We could use him for our bench. You know, Jennifer, I'm not going to disagree with you. And I guess the other reason I would even contemplate doing this is because Miguel Andujar, who I think is a really good offensive player, he just been hurt a lot. And you don't know about Sung Moon Song. We don't know if he's even going to make the opening day roster to this point. So if you could get him on a bargain basement deal, maybe you bring him in. Another veteran. I don't have a problem bringing veterans in. He's not going to be intimidated. Hell, playing in Philadelphia, he's not going to be intimidated. So I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate you tuning into the program. Steve Tejas, hi, Coach. I think we pass on Castellanos. Too much on the decline. If the players we have perform the way we expect them, we'll be okay. We have to play with intensity and stay healthy. Absolutely. You got to always play with intensity. Once you walk into that clubhouse and pull up your britches and get your jersey on, you got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to go. It's not ha ha he he time. You got to get out there and you got to be ready to go. Kind of like getting ready for this show, man. It's you got to be intense. You got to be ready to roll. You got to be focused. And I got to share this with you. I've been wanting to work out with my 7-year-old grandson, and I had that procedure a couple weeks ago. I had to stay off my feet, but he's a pretty good ball player. He plays in the Encinitas Little League and loves baseball. Yesterday, he knew practice was going to get rained out, but he still wore his practice uniform to school. I mean, he loves baseball. Big Manny Machado fan. Machado walks on water for Jeb. His name's John, but they call him Jeb. But anyways, Sunday morning, we're going to be out on the diamond at 7:30 in the morning working on ground balls and working on some things and try to teach him some advanced things. Pretty good player right now, but loves the game. He's got a great passion for the game. And hopefully he'll always have that. But we're going to get up and go and work out a little bit on Sunday morning at 7:30 to 8:30 because his sister has got a doubleheader starting at 9 o'clock in softball. So I want to get some work in before Little League season starts. They got opening day in a couple of weeks, but you got to be fundamentally sound. You got to be intense. And you got to care and take pride in how you go about things. And I thought it was really cool. And I know this is spring training. Everybody's looking for the happy story. I thought it was so cool yesterday when I was reading the paper. Craig Stammen, who I hope has a great year as a manager. I mean, lot to learn, lot to navigate through, but I hope he's a great human being, super guy. And he was talking about how you wear your uniform. And he talked about, going through the minor leagues with Washington. You had to, wear your pants up where you're not over top of your ankles or over your shoes. And I couldn't play that way. Wearing them low is one thing, but having the bottoms of your pants underneath the back heel of your spike, I could never quite understand that. But Craig Stammen is going to continue to wear his uniform the way he wore it as a player, where he's got the pants pulled up like knickers. And, wear a baseball uniform the way it's supposed to be worn. I remember in junior college, and Steve Tage just wrote in. Steve played with me in junior college. We played Little League together. We played youth ball together. We played high school and played junior college together. And we played at Maricosta Community College for John Seeley, a Hall of Fame coach. And a lot of guys, great players, played for him. Tommy Vesey, who was a great player, got to AAA. Kevin Towers, Chris Chambliss, Doc Edwards, they all played for John Seeley. And there were a lot of other great players that played minor league baseball that didn't make it to the big leagues, but he taught you how to play the game. And talk about intense. As soon as he walked onto the field, you felt the tension because he expected you, number one, wear your uniform the right way, go about business. And I always tell people when I talk about Coach Seeley, if you were a position player and you're running to first base and you didn't go full bore and hit the front side of the bag, before you got back to the dugout, you may seriously consider transferring to another school because he didn't tolerate guys going half-ass. But we had to wear our uniform a certain way, where we had to show, three stripes on our sock. We had uniforms kind of similar, not fully, but similar to the Boston Red Sox. And we had those scarlet socks, the black and red socks, a little white in them. And we had to pull our pants up to where our socks had to be shown. And of course, we had to have our shoes shined and so on and so forth. But you got to take pride in everything you do when it comes to any walk of life. Your job, take pride in it. And in baseball, man, it's all about fundamentals and being consistent and working on things that you need to work on. It's easy to go out and work on things that you're good at, but you got to go out and work on things you're not good at and make yourself a more complete player, at least get up to the average level. I brought it up the other day. Luis Arise already in Giants camp taking ground balls and working with the infield coaches, and one of them being Ron Washington. I'm very anxious to see what kind of second base Luis Arise play. Maybe it'll be a complete bust and he ends up having to DH or play first base a little bit. They've got a bunch of guys, Rafael Devers a DH probably, unless he plays first. I don't think he's going to see any playing time any longer at third base with Matt Chapman there. But I'm anxious to kind of see the hard work that Luis Arise put in, if it's going to pay off to where he becomes an average defensive second baseman, because I know he put in a lot of time at first base here in San Diego, and I think he got better. I think he got a lot better from where he was the first half a year when he came over in that trade from Miami. But Steve, I see both sides of the story on Castellanos. I could see bringing him in if his mindset's the right way, but you're going to have to sit down with him and his agent, find out what he still wants to get accomplished in this game. Padres do have a spot or two that they could fill, and the problem is they really don't have anybody down in the minors that's close. I mean, Terso Ornelas, who came up last year, didn't swing the bat well. He could maybe make the opening day roster, but is he going to be able to perform and put up numbers? Only time's going to tell. The first time up, didn't get it done. Steve, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. All right, Big Sam Sanford. Hi, Coach. I think if the Padres could find a way to bring CJ Abrams back, it would be a great addition. Put him at second base, move Crony to first, and let Sheets be a great DH left field option when Laureano sits. You know what, Sam? I think that's a great call. It sounds like you've been tapping into messages from AJ Preller on that. That's a great call. CJ Abrams, when he came up with the Padres, he was so young and he just physically was not ready to play. I mean, he had a great swing, but he could get overmatched with hard throwers that could get the ball inside. His arm strength wasn't what it needed to be to play shortstop. But he's a good player. He's made an all-star team. He's hit home runs. I mean, he's hit more home runs now than I ever thought he would hit. He was a good hitter. Remember that first year when the Padres signed him and he was playing in the Arizona Rookie League? And man, most of the year he was hitting like 400. And guys were sending tapes to me like on a nightly basis going, this guy's unbelievable. Well, he's been an all-star. He's a good player. He's gotten a great opportunity after the Padres traded him to Washington to play every day. And he's had some peaks and valleys like all ball players. But I'd love CJ Abrams to come back. I really was hoping, to be honest with you, I was really hoping, and I got an affinity for good left-handed pitchers, probably because I had a lot of good ones when I was coaching, and I just love them. But Mackenzie Gore, I was really hoping we'd get him back, but he ended up going to the Texas Rangers. But I really wanted to get Mackenzie Gore back. I mean, we gave up some great players for Soto. I mean, James Wood, who made the All-Star team last year, kind of faded the second half. But he's a young player. Man, all those guys AJ and staff drafted. I mean, Abrams and Woods and Mackenzie Gore. I mean, those guys are nails. They're all going to be outstanding major league players for a long period of time. But I kind of like your thoughts on that, Sam. It's a good job right there. Good call. Okay, what else we got? Got to have a lot today. Come on, we're starting baseball up. Let's roll. What is it? Will an ownership change during the season affect the clubhouse at all? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm kind of anxious to see who it's going to be. I mean, are they going to be fan friendly? Are they going to be out in the community? How are they going to run it like corporate America? Or are they going to be fan friendly and be a part of our community? What executives are they going to bring in? The biggest problem I have, and I've seen it with all the different sports in this town for the most part, especially a lot of the minor league teams that play. Uh, they start a franchise, and whoever owns it is great, but then they bring in people that have no clue at all about San Diego. That's why when I was with the Sockers, and I mean, I could write a book on how I got the job. I wasn't even trying to get the job. They reached out to me, and we had a hell of a run. We had a hell of a run, but I knew about San Diego, and I did things marketing wise that other people weren't willing to do. And I'm not going to get into all that. But a lot of these franchise, they get in and they just think because they have a team, everybody's going to show up and test the product. Well, they might the first time if they even know the product's there. But it's like these ABA basketball teams in San Diego. I don't know how many there are this year. You go to a website, the website's not good. You try to Google, because I like going out and taking my grandson and son-in-law. We like going to games and creating family memories. Go to one of these ABA games. I don't even know where they play, when they play, if they're playing. And even with some of the other minor league teams that have been in existence for a while, you got to get out in the community. You got to press the flesh. You got to get out there and meet people. And I was willing to do that. That's why I was able, along with the great soccer players that we had, uh, to go from the Del Mar Arena, which is basically the horse show, and I was able to get them back financially to the sports arena. Now they've got a brand new building that the ownership of the Sockers built, Front Wave Arena. Great little arena up there if you haven't been there. But you got to get out there. And somebody said, would you go back and be a general manager of another team? You always listen, but I put a lot of hard work into that. And, I'd have to have a pretty good staff because physically, I don't think I could do the things now that I did back then. I mean, I was on the radio 5 nights a week, being a general manager of a professional organization. It was crazy, but I wanted to do it. I needed a scoreboard back in my life. I love competition. I love coming into the locker room, talking to the players, getting ready for a game. And but I also tell you, being a general manager, it's a miserable existence on game night. It's a miserable existence. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you want to win every game. And you got confidence in your coach. You got confidence in your players because you've seen the process and everything they've gone through. And you feel good about the guys that you have in uniform. But when you got to stand, in my case, stand behind a glass window down there by the boards and just watch the game and you have no control, man, it can be a little frustrating. But luckily, we were awful good. We were awful good. We had a great run. I got 3 championship rings. I'll tell you what. Monday, I'm going to bring my championship rings on Monday, and I'll show them to you. I'm very proud of those, and very proud of what we were able to get done with the Sockers. I had 3 goals real quick, and I don't even know how I got onto this. I guess we're talking about Padre ownership. I had 3 goals when I took over with the Sockers. Number one, I wanted to win a championship because all the championships I won in high school, college, uh, at any level, I had never gotten an actual ring. Never had gotten a ring, and I wanted to get a ring, and I got 3 now. My other one was that I wanted to be able to move the Sockers from Del Mar back to the sports arena. And in year 3, I was able to accomplish that. And then my, after the 6th year, my final goal was to not only when I decided to walk away from the Sockers, I wanted to walk away with them being solvent. And the ownership would have always kept it solvent, but I wanted to make money rather than lose money. A lot of organizations lose money, but I wanted to win a championship. I won 3. I wanted to get them back to the sports arena. I was able to do that. And I talked to Ernie Hahn, who was running the sports arena at that point in time. After the first year, I go, Ernie, I need one more year to build it up in sponsorships and fan base, and I'll get them back here. And Ernie worked with me, and we got the Sockers back there, and they were playing there until Front Wave Arena opened up. And it's not cheap to play in the sports arena. So I was very proud that I was able to get them back to the arena. And my goal was when I was going to leave the organization, I wanted them to be in good financial shape. And I was able to accomplish all 3 of those goals. But, getting back to the question, I've had people, hey, would you be interested in this or that? Hey, you always listen. Like in radio, you always listen. I remember once upon a time, John Fricke and I were doing middays on 1090. And we had gotten contacted by a gentleman in Orange County who owned a big sports station in Colorado. And he listened to John and I's show every day because he lived here but would fly to Colorado, for meetings or to touch base with the program director. And he wanted to hire John and I in Denver, Colorado. Well, most people knew I was not going to go. I'm not leaving San Diego. Now, John, on the other hand, he'd moved around with CNN, and he's back down in Atlanta now and doing well. And Fricke, I got to tell you, John Fricke was a hell of a guy. We had so much fun working together. Really good guy. But you always listen. You always listen. And then you got to make it determine what's best for you, what's best for your family. But anyways, would I listen if somebody asked me about wanting to run an organization again? Yeah, I'd listen. But I'd also have to bring my own people in. And I've got people. I've got a list of people that I would reach out to. And where they're at in their life, who knows? They may not want to come with me. They may want to come. They may, oh man, finally we're going to get this opportunity. Or some may say, you know what? I'm too far down the road. I don't want to. I don't want to start over again. But it'll be interesting to see what goes on with the Padre ownership and if they know anything about San Diego. If they do, great. If they don't, hopefully they come in and they rather before they do a whole lot, they'll open their eyes and open their ears and really grasp the landscape of San Diego. San Diego's different. San Diego's different in a lot of different ways. All right, what else we got today here? All right, do you think a Preller extension is more likely to come after starting pitcher market fizzles once Gallen signs and AJ's attention can be on himself? Nah, I don't think so. I mean, how difficult it can be. I mean, AJ shows up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. John Seidler maybe shows up at 9 o'clock. Hey, how about let's have a lunch up in John Seidler's office at 11:30. Let's finalize this deal and then let's announce it to the media on the first day the position players are working out on Sunday, huh? Or do we want to do it on Valentine's Day? Let's get the deal done. This deal about trying to build the roster, I mean, for crying out loud, you got to be able to get AJ's contract done, fairly quickly. I don't know what the sticking point is. I don't know what the sticking point. I don't think it's money. It could be length of contract. It could be they're wanting to change some of his job responsibilities, and he's digging his heels in on that. Maybe there's a certain person he doesn't want to report to. We'll find out. We'll find out. Thank you very much, DM. I appreciate that. What else we got here? Javier Salas, Coach, do you think the Tigers will trade Scooble at the trade deadline? No. I think the Tigers would have a chance maybe to win the World Series this year. I mean, I know that Dodgers are out there and they're prohibitive favorites to win the World Series, but you never know. But you got Scooble, you got Framber Valdez, you got Verlander. Hopefully they get the version of Verlander from the second half of last season with the Giants. You got Jack Flaherty. They got a good ball club in Detroit. And you get out there, you never know what can happen. But they could if they're not winning the division and they really fail early in the year. Yeah, they'd trade them, but if they're winning the division or in the wild card, I don't think they're going to trade Scooble. I really don't. Who knows? Maybe they'll trade him before the season starts. But I think the fans in Detroit would not be happy. They got a chance this year. I think most people are figuring they're going to win that division. They could end up having the best record in the American League this year because that division, as we know, is good but not great. That's my take on that, Javier. Good question, though. Very good question. Okay, college baseball starts today. And I want to wish Kevin Vance, the new head coach at San Diego State, all the best. Excuse me. Um, Rookie year, they got Long Island University, a team they should be able to handle. Kevin Vance played at Torrey Pines High. He's a Falcon alum. I want to wish him the very best. And I know he's brought in a lot of new players this year and try to get San Diego State back on track baseball wise. Eric Newman, the head coach at UCSD, all they're doing is having to play the UCLA Bruins, who are ranked number one in the country coming out. They got a 3-game series starting tonight, tomorrow, and finish up on Sunday. And USD, Brock Ungrich, the Toreros, they're on the road and down in Charlotte, North Carolina. They got a 3-game series. It'll be a quick 2-day affair, though. They play today and then they play a doubleheader tomorrow. So college baseball, looking forward to getting out to calling college baseball. I'm very excited. We did a good job last year, Steve Quiss and I, and we've been hired again by the Big West Conference to call the Big West Baseball Championships this year at UC Irvine. So looking forward to doing that. So there you have it. Okay, we got a little coach's mailbag today. Little coach's mailbag today. See what we got. User 3242. What will Bud Black be doing for the team this season? I think a little bit of everything. I'm sure he's going to spend a lot of time home games. I would think he'd be around Craig Stammen and the ball club. Be a great advocate for Craig. I would also expect him maybe to go out and look at potential draft picks, especially if they're pitchers. I would have Buddy, I wouldn't work him to death flying around the country, but there may be a handful of guys that I'd want him to go take a look at. And then I want him to go down and look at and evaluate a lot of my pitchers down in the minor leagues. And I'll tell you the other area that I would, and this is not saying the Padres don't hire good people. They do hire good people. But I think you got to also, in my opinion, you got to evaluate because you're not there every day. You got to evaluate your players, coaches, managers. What are they doing? What kind of early work are they doing? Or is there a platelet, a timeline? If you got to do this on Mondays, this on Tuesdays, because early work in the minor leagues is big. I mean, guys just don't show up and play at 7:05, let alone batting practice, take a little infield. You got to work on things. Base running, getting secondary leads, bunt defense, rundowns, pickoffs, relays. You got to do that in the minor leagues. You don't want to do it to where guys are wore out, and you got to be able to read the room a little bit. What guys need a day off? Hey, you're not going to throw from the outfield today. How's your wing feeling? But you've got to evaluate everybody. And I think over a period of time that kind of gets filtered out, but I think it's very important to have a guy that can go around the minor leagues and evaluate everything and just sit in the stands and watch from afar to a certain degree and see what guys are doing, what guys aren't doing. I think that's really important. All right, what else we got here on Coach's Mailbag? Will you be out in Peoria watching the club at all? Now, probably not. I've got too many uh, things I have to deal with finishing up college basketball. But I will tell you this: I get a daily report. I've got a few people down there that give me a lot of good info, and I'll listen to all the games. And I don't know how many games will be on television. I don't think the Padre TV is going to have a whole lot. They may pick some up of other teams' broadcasters, but I don't think too often. Besides that, you know what? Unless we start getting a lot of supers and a lot of Gold Glove memberships, it's pretty expensive to go to spring training these days, especially in those hotels, man. They jack those prices up. But if anybody wants to sponsor me to go to spring training, I'll entertain that. But I appreciate that. Spring training's great, man. I used to wear myself out, because I normally do like a 6 to 10 show or 7 to 11. And I would get out to the ballpark like 7:30 in the morning. I'd run around until like, 5 o'clock. I'd run back, take a shower, get cleaned up, eat something real quick, and scurry over to where I was doing the show. I used to do the shows for years in the Hampton Inn. right in the lobby of the Hampton Inn, man. I had some great, Tony always led off with me. Tony always wanted to be my first guest on that Monday night. And the late Sean Burrows, who I was a big fan of. I think most of you knew. I'm so sorry about what happened to Sean. And I remember Mike Darr, who passed away in a car accident. Mike came over, Gary Matthews Jr. We had a bunch of guys. It was kind of funny because it was Seattle Mariners Hotel. And we had a lot of fun those days at the Hampton Inn doing the night show. Guys would congregate because they knew I was doing it over there. But a lot of fun in spring training. But man, I'd be out there running around at 7:30 in the morning. I'd get off the air at 11 o'clock at night. But you know what? That's how I built relationships and got to know so many guys in the Padres organization back in those days. But spring training, some great memories. Some great memories. Okay, we got another one. Got any more today? All right, bummers. I hope the Padres can get second in the division and lock up a wild card so we don't have to sweat it out late in the season. I agree. How about last year? The Dodgers kind of tantalized us because they kept losing and they kind of opened the door for the Padres to win the division. And then finally, the Dodgers got on course, and they went on a pretty good roll there at the end. But I mean, we were getting like within one or two games and would fall back. We couldn't win on that given night. But the Dodgers, uh, I don't know if the Dodgers will win 100 games. I guess if the Dodgers really want to win 100 games this year, they probably will. But like we know, they're looking at October 1st is when their season really starts. They just want to be healthy. But I would love for the Padres to be right in it. I mean, right in it and get that number one wild card. Don't be the third team. And so we can get a little bit of an exhale maybe early in September and not come down to the nitty gritty. All right, good job today, guys. Very good stuff today. Very good stuff. All right, reminder: we will be on President's Day. And boy, by Monday, maybe we'll have an AJ Preller contract extension. Maybe Nick Castellanos will be a member of the Padres. You know this. If AJ wants Nick Castellanos, he will go hammer and tong to get him here. But, it may kick the tires. I think Zach Gallen's out of the question. Zach Gallen left a lot of balls in the middle of the plate last year. I know he pitched a little bit better second half, but I don't want to spend $20 million on him. I'd take him for 5 or 6. But I don't think he's going to settle for 5 and 6 like I talked about on Wednesday. But you know what? We'll reconvene on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. And again, thanks for tuning in. Reminder, subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. And if you'd like to be a part of our Gold Glove membership, $2.99 a month. Have a great weekend, everyone. Talk to you Monday morning. Bye-bye.